what is settlement and how did settlements begin. In this video, we are going to discuss about the next few topics of the chapter. So that is why do settlements change and what type of places are formed as settlements. So the topics that are covered in this video are why do settlements change and what type of places are formed as settlements. So let's get started with the next topic, that is why do settlements change. And actually there is no one single reason as to why the settlements change. There are many reasons for the changes happening in the settlements. For instance, to name a few reasons as to why the changes happen in the settlements, it could be like number one, migration, that is migration of the people in search of job and employment opportunities. So people, when they move from the villages to the towns or cities, it is because they wanted to search for a better job or employment opportunities. And another reason why the settlements change is because of the developmental plans that are being implemented by the government. Also the settlements changes due to increase in population. So when many people migrate from villages to cities, it's obvious that the population is going to increase, and we get to see the changes happening in the settlements. Also the settlement changes due to some political changes happening in that place. And apart from that, we also have technological advances, and also due to some natural disasters like earthquakes and floods. So these are some of the common reasons why the settlements change. So there are number of reasons. Okay, so there is no one particular reason, but there are number of reasons as to why the settlements change. So to understand this, let us take let us take the case of New Delhi. So here we'll be talking about the city of Delhi. Here we'll try to see how the settlements change. And Delhi was the capital for many kingdoms since the medieval period. If we can go back in history, you can see that most of the kingdoms and dynasties have ruled the Indian subcontinent and parts of the Indian subcontinent by making Delhi as their capital city. So it was the center for them, it was their center, it was their capital city from where they have carried all the administration. Now, second thing here is most of the kings made Delhi their center for administration of their empire. If we look at Delhi Sultanate or the Mughal Empire, most of the kings made Delhi as their center for administration. So Delhi was the place from where they managed their entire kingdom or administration. And later the British continued the same trend, that is they continue uh, they continued with Delhi as their administrative centers. So even the Britishers who came to India later continued to administer through Delhi as its center. Even after independence, Delhi still continues to be the capital. And even today, after the independence, Delhi is still the capital, and that is how the trend continues and then the trend continues to be the capital here. Okay, so it attracted people from all parts of India. Delhi being the capital city of the country, it attracted people from all the parts of India. People migrated because they wanted better jobs, employment opportunities, and that is how it attracted people from all parts of India. Also, Delhi is the place where we have our parliament and central government offices. So it's common to have people from all parts of India, people who have applied for various central government jobs from all parts of the country. They move to Delhi if they get selected. So along with them, their families also move. So that is how we get to see a lot of changes happening in Delhi. So next one is people migrate for livelihood, employment opportunities, health and education. Not only that, children, many people from all parts of India migrate to India because they are looking for better employment opportunities, for better livelihood opportunities, for better education, for health facilities. So all these factors had led to increase in the population of Delhi. So moving forward, so migration of people brings changes in the settlement. So when the people migrate from towns and villages to urban areas like cities and metropolitan cities, the population is going to grow. And obviously when the population increases, settlements also increase. Planning and development, that is master plans. Another reason why the settlements change is due to the planning and development of the city by the government. Here we call this as master plans. And why are these master plans uh, organized? The master plans are implemented so that the city can change. Every city will have a master plan, and they will design and allocate different resources for the different areas depending upon the master plan. But what is this master plan? Let us try to understand a little bit in detail. A master plan is a dynamic long-term planning document that provides a conceptual layout to guide future growth and development. I want you all to pause for a little minute and write down the definition of master plan. Okay, so here you can write a master plan is a planning document. I'll just write it for you here. It is a planning document. Planning document that is aimed at future development of a city. So what does it aim at? It aims at future growth and development of a place. And why are they made? They are designed so that they can allocate different areas to different purposes. Like for some areas, they will be selected as residential area. Some areas they'll select it as industrial regions. Some areas they'll allocate for commercial purposes. So this is how, as per the master plan, they allocate various regions to for various purposes. So likewise, they might also allocate the region for parks, recreation areas in residential regions, so that the children and adults mostly of the old age can spend their times in this park. So that is how they divide, that is how they categorize the areas. Likewise, they may also categorize schools and colleges in some designated regions. So all this happens according to the master plan. They plan the city in such a way that it becomes easy for the citizens to avail such facilities without discomfort. So all these requires a basic plan, which is called as master plan. So based on the master plans, the governments decide on various facilities and services like roads, drinking water, electricity, etc. So what kind of roads needs to be constructed, how much amount of water is required to the people living in a particular locality, how much electricity is required in that region, how to maintain the sewage, the drainage, how to dispose them, how to maintain the garbage. All this requires a master plan. So once the master plan is ready, the government gets some idea, and basing on this idea, it will provide facilities to the citizens. So the city of Delhi had three such master plans. none of which could be implemented properly. Here in the case of Delhi, it is being said that the city of Delhi already had three such master plans. However, the plans could not be implemented properly. Why? The reason could be probably because there were few problems. Like, to name a few, there were huge migrations, and due to migrations there was a huge increase in population, and due to increase in the population, more and more slums increased. So probably these could be the reasons why the master plans could not be implemented properly. Also, the growing population causes delay in the planning, and moreover, the people who migrate to Delhi looking for work, okay, uh, they occupy regions, especially the slums, because they cannot afford places anywhere else, and easily they can settle in those slums. Slums remain unauthorized and unchecked for a longer period of time. And when the government finally announces some kind of plans, or especially when the master plans come, it causes discomfort to these slum dwellers, and it leads to a difficult conflict situation. And sometimes people also seek political support. So this all becomes a political agenda, and we can say that these are all the obstacles why the master plans never get implemented in slum regions. So when the government tries to implement these plans, it causes inconvenience to these slum dwellers, and finally they seek the political patronage, and then it becomes a political issue. And so the ruling government will try to ignore such colonies and doesn't provide facilities in such colonies. So they remain out of such public facilities and amenities. So that is the major reason why, in not only in Delhi, if you talk about any cities, big cities, metropolitan cities, this is the problem, because many people migrate to these places and they settle in in slum areas. When the government tries to bring a master plan, it causes just discomfort to the people living in this slum dwellers, uh, and then these people, they seek the political support of the opposition parties, and that is how it creates a conflict situation. And therefore the ruling government decides that, okay, it is better to ignore those slum regions, because again it would be a politically disadvantageous situations to them. So they ignore these slums, and this is why the slum people uh, are not provided with basic facilities and amenities. So now let us go to the another topic of this chapter, that is mm, what types of places are formed as settlements. To understand what type of places are formed as settlements, we need to look at three basic concepts. Okay, so understanding what types of places are formed as settlements require an understanding of three basic concepts. Number one, site. Number two, situation. And number three, the history of the place. So let us try to understand these three concepts. This will help us understand what type of places are formed as settlements. So let us begin with the first basic concept, that is site. Okay, so site refers to the characteristics of a place, its topography, altitude, characteristics of water bodies like lakes, rivers, underground water, types of soil, security, shelter from natural forces, and so on. So here when we see when we see about site, we are actually referring to the characteristics. Okay, we are actually talking about characteristics. So how a site is, what how does it what is the geographical terrain? Is it a plain, or is it a plateau? Is it a hill? Is it a mountain? So it defines a site in particular. Okay, so it talks about the features of the place like topography. It talks about altitude, which describes its height. It also talks about its water bodies like lakes, rivers, underground water, etc., and what type of soil it has, how secure that place is, how safe it is from the natural disasters like floods, earthquakes, etc. So all this describe the physical features of the place. Okay, so which is referred to as a site here. So the sites that have the best facilities for living conditions, they get transformed into settlement. So for example, let us talk about Pratapgarh, which is a fort in Maharashtra. It was constructed by Shivaji Maharaj, and this is the best example for us to understand how site gets transformed. Now, if you look at this picture, children, here, this is a picture of a fort, uh, Pratapgarh Fort, which is in Maharashtra. This fort was constructed by Chhatrapati Shivaji. It was actually a site. Later, slowly, it was developed into a settlement. Shivaji built this fort in this site because of its altitude. From the top of the fort, they could easily see the surroundings, and it provided a military security to them. So, as you see the picture of the fort in Maharashtra, this site was selected by Shivaji probably because it provided them good military protection. Okay, so that is how a small site has transformed um, into a settlement. Okay, so moving to the second basic concept of is situation. The second basic concept is situation. The situation of the place also makes or transforms the site into a settlement. So when we say situation here, we are talking about connectivity. Okay, the places that are connected well change into settlement. Places that are well connected from one places to another place have more scope for transforming themselves as settlements. So here we'll try to understand Vishakhapatnam. Vishakhapatnam, it is in the coastal regions. It is connected to the places both inside and outside India because it has various ports in this city. So, for example, Vishakhapatnam, as it is on the coastal region, it is well connected to the places inside and outside India. The reason why Vishakhapatnam changed into settlement is because of the situation. Here situation means it is well connected to the places outside India, especially for people who are into imports and exports. Okay, so it is the best place where people can go for international trade, and that is one reason why Vishakhapatnam became one of the port cities in India. And since it is a port city, population here grew in last few decades. So here you can see this is a picture of Vishakhapatnam, and slowly over the period of time this port city became a very populous city. Okay, so because of the connectivity, because of the situation, because of the advantage of situation, that is it has connectivity. Okay, it has connectivity to major ports inside and outside India. Finally, the third reason here is the history of the place. So history of the place is also one reason why the sites transform into settlements. For example, here we can take the example of Vishakhapatnam again. It has a very long history. It is in the 19th century. In the 19th century, many colonial countries wanted to have control over India. As we all know this, that many countries wanted to have control in India, especially the colonial powers like French and Britain. Okay, they even fought a naval battle over this city. So you might be wondering, why did the British and the French fought a naval battle here? The battle was that both of the colonial powers, they wanted to establish their control, and they wanted to establish the port city here, so that they can use this port city to transfer the raw materials from India to their respective countries. So on that regard, the both colonial powers, the British and the French, fought a naval battle over this city. So as the main reason behind this was to export the raw materials to their countries from India. So as we have discussed this point, okay, so as you can see, here is the picture of a pictorial representation of how the battle between the British people and the French people in order to occupy this city of Vishakhapatnam. So this is associated with history. So this is also one reason why the sites gets transformed themselves into history. As we have already understood that the city of Vishakhapatnam was the best place for the colonial powers to export the products from India to their countries. So they wanted to gain control over it, and also over the trade in India. So this is associated with history, and which is giving us the idea that this is also one basic concept as to why the sites get transformed into settlement. And since all this is connected with history, they have great significance and understanding how and why these places are transformed as settlements. So that's it for the day. We will continue the next topic, that is Indian settlements in hierarchy, urbanization in India and the problem of urbanization, in the next video. I hope you have understood today's lecture. Please do like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to push the notification button. This will help you in notifying about the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Jai Hind.